Here.
Mr. Margraf?
Here.
Mr. Long?
Do we have any conflict of interest statements?
No.
Approval of the minutes of the meeting of August 1st, 2019 and August 8th, 2019.
I will recommend the approval of the minutes of August 1st and August 8th, 2019.
And I concur. Item A, request for advertising dates of August 22nd, 2019 and August 29th, 2019 with a bid opening date of September 12th, 2019 for the First District Street Project, Wolf Lake Ribbon Curb, Hammond Court, Maiden Lane, Forsyth Square, and Roosevelt Drive.
I will recommend that we approve the advertising dates as read.
I concur. Item B, request for advertising dates of August 22nd and August 29th, 2019, with a bid opening date of September 12th, 2019, for lighting improvements Carolina Avenue between 165th Street to 169th Street and Tennessee Avenue between 163rd Street to 167th Street.
I will recommend again that we approve the advertising dates as read.
I concur. Item C, contract with Midwestern Electric for lighting improvements on Torrance Avenue, Burton Court, Hammond Court, and Roosevelt Drive. If you went on there. You got that, Grant?
I'm sorry, I think we might need to defer these to next week. I don't think we have the funding in place.
This is for the
Construction of the lighting project?
Midwestern Electric contract,
Correct.
so you're asking to defer.
If you don't mind.
Oh, that's fine.
I recommend that we defer the contract for Midwestern Electric.
And I concur. Item D, correspondence received from Mayor Thomas McDermott Jr. and Councilman Bill Emerson Sr., each requesting $100,000 of their gaming funds be allocated for the resurfacing of Homan Avenue from 165th Street to Little Calumet River. It has been signed by the mayor and by the councilman.
I will recommend we approve the request.
And I concur. Item E, correspondence received from Councilman Bill Emerson Sr. requesting $7,500 of gaming funds be allocated for design and construction observation with Nice Engineering Alley Drainage Improvement Project. This has been signed by the councilman and by the mayor.
I will recommend that we approve the request.
And I concur. Item F, correspondence received from Councilman Dave Warple requesting $75,000 of gaming funds be allocated for 2019 park improvements. Signed by both the councilman and the mayor.
Again, I will recommend to approve the request.
I concur. Item G, correspondence received from Crawford, Murphy, and Tilly Advertising. INDOT will be conducting surveys on city-owned property, DES number 1801907. Is engineering signed off on this?
Yes, actually, that's the new bridge project
Okay.
to the state in Hessville. So they are just going to start their survey. It's information of purposes, and I think disseminating to residents.
Okay. Yeah, we'll say that that's for acknowledgement purposes. Item H, correspondence received from Calumet College of St. Joseph requesting the Polly John sign in the middle of College Boulevard be removed and to use the property on September 10th, 2019 for excess parking for their college fair. Good morning.
Good morning. Hi, I'm Amy McCormick. I'm the president of Calumet College. And could I give you a couple pictures?
Sure. Thank you.
So what we're actually looking to do is replace the current sign, and what you have in front of you is the picture of the Polly John sign that's on along New York Avenue, right at the entrance. The black and white photo shows the three signs that are at the entrance on College Boulevard or Avenue. And what we're trying to do is take those three signs and make them one sign and dress up the curb appeal along New York Avenue. But what we'd further like to do, we're using the current post, so in our request was to remove the Polly John sign. It's actually to replace the Polly John sign with a consolidated signage that we think looks more professional and brings all the signage onto one. But the Hammond signs that have been done with the logo on the posts, which we also have one on our property for the bike trail, we would actually love to brand it with the Hammond logo. As you know, we have a Whiting address, but we're located in Hammond. We just had the 5K shuffle, and I try to make it an effort when I talk to people to say that we're in Hammond. But I would love at the entrance to have the Hammond logo, which would mean replacing the posts. But that's just an added. We couldn't modify the sign to include that. But I wanted to clarify that that would be the ideal signage, would be to have the posts with the Hammond logo, like I've seen on the trail signs, and then to have a consolidated.
Has Polyjohn been approached?
We have approached them, and we've actually sent them a copy of that. It's my understanding, I wasn't sure of the process, but I wanted to go through the appropriate approval process. I'm not sure that they did that, so I did send them an email that I plan to go through the appropriate process to get signage on what I believe is City of Hammond property, that it's not actually their property, so.
Kevin Smith is our attorney for the Port Authority as well. I was just wondering if you're aware, is this a Hammond-owned property? Is it Port Authority-owned?
It wouldn't surprise me if it may be redevelopment over
Okay.
there, but I would just ask President McCormick to coordinate with Mylan, who Port Authority has those signs posted for the bike trails.
Right.
Those are Port Authority signs. I would just suggest that she coordinate with Mylan as to what the Port Authority would want there. Also, I would request that she meet with, or have somebody from her administration meet with Brian Poland down in zoning, or Lakeisha Girder, who is our assistant city planner and our city planner, and they always deal with all the sign applications. So that'd be something else I would request. And then, as far as it being on our property, I'm relatively certain it's on either redevelopment or city property, but I'll double check that.
Okay. So do I have a recommendation to refer this to Mylan at the Port Authority as well as the Department of Planning here at the city to coordinate the new sign at this location?
So moved, yes.
I concur. Okay, thank you. We'll
Thank you.
send those to those departments, and hopefully we can work through something that works for everybody.
Okay.
Okay, great,
Oh,
thank you.
parking, I also just wanted to mention, that's in addition to, on September 10th, to use the parking lot that is development property for excess parking that we will have for a college fair to bring employers on campus.
It is redevelopment property, we're certain of that? They have one more meeting before then, so.
Yes, they have a meeting on the 20th.
Oh, the
So I-
15th, today, oh, no.
20th?
Oh, maybe the deadline was for the 15th for submission.
Yes.
They could still bring that up.
Yep, yep.
Okay.
So,
Referred to bring it here. I approached
by redevelopment? Okay, so why don't we conditionally approve it, just while we clarify whose property
Zone,
it is?
okay.
I'll be happy to speak with President McCormick as to what the property is, what the property ownership is. But
Okay.
her assistant has indicated that they've gone up to planning and development, and they referred it down to Board of Public Works. So I'd rather have some action by the board if we could, just to
Okay.
approve it.
Okay. I mean, I will recommend that we approve the parking with the condition that a final determination will be had through Mr. Smith.
And I concur. Okay, thank
Great,
you.
Thank you.
All right, item I, correspondence received from M.W. King Solomon Universal Grand Lodge, Ancient New York Masons, 863 Sibley Street, requesting permission to hold an end-of-summer cookout Sunday, August 17th, 2019, from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. with street closure. So they're requesting to have the corner of Maywood and Sibley Street to the alley blocked off, stating they have no neighbors in the area. Is this an annual event? Is anyone aware? Yeah.
It's Saturday, right?
Okay, yeah, it's for this Saturday.
Do they need anything? You request
Just to have it blocked, so I guess barricades.
Is that a public works thing? I'm guessing it is, right?
Maybe refer to PD and Public Works.
Okay, I'm gonna request that, I'm gonna recommend that the request for the, street closure. We'll send it to Public Works as well as the Police Department and, for their final approval.
And I'll concur. Item J, correspondence received from Mr. Andy Dybel, Lions Club, requesting street closure of the first 250 feet of the 1900 block of Atchison Avenue in the front of the Knights of Columbus Hall Thursday, August 22nd, 2019, for the Battle of 119th Street Barbecue. Okay. Is this an annual event as well?
It is. Are you guys involved?
So they are also requesting barricades from the street department. And they've contacted Park already for picnic table requests as well as garbage cans needed for the event.
That is the border also of Whiting, so as long as they're notified as well, I would.
Yeah, okay. It's, it seems as though Whiting has been contacted already. Okay,
Okay, I'll recommend to approve the request with the request going to the Public Works as well as Police Department.
and I'll concur. Item K, correspondence received from the First Baptist Church of Hammond requesting State Street and Oakley Avenue be closed Monday, August 19th, 2019, from noon to 8 p.m. for an outdoor event.
The gentleman's here.
Okay. Oh, good morning.
Hello, Aaron Eggers, First Baptist Assistant Pastor. We're having, we did this last year as well. We have a in-service training for all our employees for our ministry, so we're expecting between 400 and 500 people with spouses and family members as well to be in attendance. And we are going to be setting up some outdoor games and such, and just figured it'd be a little bit safer if we didn't have kids running around with the streets open.
Street in Oakley. So exactly what portion of which road are you looking to have closed?
So Oakley Street from Willow to Sibley Boulevard, and then, because that we'll use for food, and then just State Street from right there by the library to just down by the railroad tracks, so they could defer.
North side of the library, correct?
Yes, sir. And so they would be able to cut through the parking lot over to Sibley Boulevard, and at the railroad tracks, they could take Willow Court around.
Okay, I will recommend to approve the request from the church.
And I'll concur.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item L, correspondence received from Purdue University Northwest requesting the resident-only parking restriction be lifted on streets adjacent to Dowling Park for a fall sports festival, Saturday, September 7th, 2019. You want to weigh in on this, Kevin?
Yes, sure. Actually, there's been some correspondence on this over the last day. This went before the Park Board already. It was conditionally approved pending police approval. Chief Miller of the Purdue Northwest Police Department has met with Chief Doty from HPD, and they have both coordinated the fact that PNW is going to provide 8 officers for that event. They expect over 1,000 people. It's their big alumni event every year. There will be alcohol served, and Chief Doty was fine with PNW taking the lead on that, and he does not believe there'll be any additional HPD officers needed.
Okay.
So it's been approved through Parks now officially, and PD has also approved it, so I would recommend.
As far as the lifting the park or resident-only parking signs, can we just maybe notify the neighborhood that that won't be enforced that day and have maybe some presence rather than going through and actually, removing the signs?
Yeah, I don't think there's any, I don't think it asked to remove the signs. I thought it just said that the restriction be lifted on the streets adjacent. So in other words, I think what they want is potentially use those streets for parking.
Right.
I agree with you, Madam President, that it's probably good to notify the folks in that
So
area.
let the neighborhood know that
Yep.
that weekend it's happening.
And probably also notify Councilman Warple and Councilman Rakos as well.
Okay. And they'll be making their guests aware that they can utilize those parking spaces without any kind of pass that day.
Yeah, I think in the future, once we get the ice rink up and the additional parking lot, that this will be alleviated. This will probably be the last year they'll need to use those streets for that.
Because they're asking to cover them. Is that something?
Yeah, I think it's better just to,
They're asking you if, they said the PNW police would cover the signs prior to the event and cover them afterwards. I'm assuming uncover.
I mean, here's the thing, is if the police know that it's not, they're not going to enforce the resident only during that time, I don't
I
necessarily
think
know if they need
their
to
guests,
cover it.
I think their guests need to know though that they're not,
Correct.
doing
They need
something
to,
in
I think it's better
violation
if
of city
they,
ordinance.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I think it's better, as you suggested, that they are on the, they notify their guests that there's not resident only versus us having to cover them.
Okay. All right.
So do we notify the neighbors that are gonna be affected by this, or?
I think it's important that somebody does, yeah, that either, that we know, maybe there's a sign that, or something put on, maybe on the end of the street for that day. It's kind of weird, right, because they have signs up that says resident only, so how do you tell them it's not resident only for that day? That's the difficult part of it. I mean, as long as we're not enforcing it that day, the police are aware of that, we probably need to either let the residents know, and then PNW needs to let their guests know.
Okay.
And by the way, we probably also want to know the hours, so that it's,
Let's see here, the photo that they're showing us is not a resident-only parking, it just says no parking.
well, yeah, obviously, we're not gonna, I mean, it's still gonna be no
Here's
parking.
residential only in the first few, but this one here, it's a Dowling Park complex sign that says no parking anytime, and then a no parking symbol sign. So maybe we need to,
Is that along 175th?
The no parking is yes.
Maybe it's better to table that and ask them to come to the meeting, and maybe also make Captain Long aware of it, so that they can maybe come up with a solution. Maybe they've done something in the past.
okay. So maybe we can request, yeah,
Yeah, put it on next week's agenda and maybe have
Director Miller
PNW.
come attend.
Yeah, I mean, I would think, Kevin, if Purdue's asking for the requesting this, that maybe they're the ones that should be notifying the neighbors.
Agreed, yeah, maybe, you're right. I don't disagree with that.
Wanna make
Yeah,
sure
it'd probably be
that
better to have them come here so we can lay it out and have somebody from the, well, when Captain Long's here next week, that'll be perfect. All right.
All right, I'll recommend that we table the request from Purdue for at least, for us to notify them to appear before this board for more explanation.
And I'll concur. Item M, correspondence received from Mr. Derek Durr requesting permission to block part of Tapper Avenue between the 900 and 1000 block of Drackard Street, Saturday, August 17th, for an end of summer barbecue. We have quite a few events going on this weekend. Hope they're all missable.
Oh, just right out here?
And they're also asking for 4 park benches. They indicated that they will contact the park department separately for that request.
Make Public Works aware, I mean, again, this is a Saturday event.
Let me see, is that going to affect other homes in that area? We don't have any signatures on this one.
Just a stretch of road between, need some barricades.
You think the location's okay?
1005 of Drackard. Yeah, I don't see an issue with that. You're right, we don't have any signatures from the neighbors, though.
Did you speak to this gentleman, Lynn? Did it sound like he had neighbors that he was going to be restricting?
So Mr. Durr is the bailiff over in room 5 on Russell Street.
Okay.
And I know that his family's lived in that area, especially his mom, who's in their late 90s. I know that they've lived in that area for a long time. I don't know if this is an annual event or not. I don't know if Mr. Kearney or Mr. Prieto know that, but we could probably make a quick call over to room 5 and talk with him after if you wanted to conditionally approve it. It's a,
Yeah, why don't we go ahead and do that, and we'll approve it subject to discussion with Mr. Durr regarding the approval of the neighbors for this closure.
Okay, I'll recommend that we do just that.
And also refer it to Street Department?
Yes.
Okay, I'll concur. Item N, request for encroachment on property located at 5706 Homan Avenue. Good
Good morning. My name is Arik Mizrahi. I bought the old Lake Tire building,
Okay,
and I just want to reserve to make new asphalt. And partials of my property is on the city property, and I would like just to replace the blacktop and make it new.
when were you planning to do this, sir?
I have a contract with a guy, but before I sign the contract, I want you guys to approve it, and maybe in less than a month. You have to apply with the city, so you can do the job, and then I can do it.
Okay. Jonathan, have you guys been made aware of this
Yeah,
already?
he came in earlier this week and we reviewed it. The situation is currently, he's just replacing the blacktop that is currently encroaching. He just
Okay.
wants to make it official. We have no objections to it. He did take part of the facade program, so he's invested quite a bit into this property, and this is his last bid before
Okay.
he's
So the area we're talking about is on the north side of the business now?
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
And it's encroaching what, on sidewalk or what?
No,
I have the
just
plan.
into the right of way. Yeah, here.
Oh, I got you. I got you.
Kevin, Law Department okay with this? Any issue with him
Okay.
replacing the blacktop on a city right-of-way,
This is existing.
if it's an existing lot?
Oh, I see.
He's just replacing the asphalt.
already existing right away.
Yeah, it is.
Good morning.
Good morning,
How are
Kevin.
you?
How you
Yeah,
doing?
it sounds like he's just,
The building looks great.
Thanks.
It does.
I just want to do the old blacktop to replace. I don't want to do nothing else.
nothing new, just
Nothing.
replacing
Just
existing
replacing the
aging
asphalt.
asphalt.
Right away. Is there right away? The right away. Where's the asphalt? He owns that, we own this white line. Engineering, we have no objection, it's currently at that right now.
Okay. All right.
Whenever I get the blacktop done.
You want to make a recommendation?
I will recommend to approve the request.
And I will concur. Thank you,
Thank you
sir.
so much. Thank you.
Item O, garage sale permit submitted for approval.
I will recommend to approve this week's garage sale permits.
And I will concur. Item 6, matters from other board members. Anything today?
No, ma'am.
Item 7, matters from other department heads or their representatives. Good morning.
Good morning. Chris Moore, I'm here working with the engineering department. I had received a late request from Grimmer Construction to close 167th to finish up some paving. The paving scheduling had been adjusted due to the weather that we received earlier in the week, and they got pushed up on their schedule. So the intersection in question is Leland and 167th. They're going to close that intersection, which it's actually already been done. But it's, that intersection there will be closed. We received a detour plan. We reviewed it with the engineering department, made some adjustments. Engineering department has approved it. And just putting in a formal request to close the intersection for paving. It'll be closed already and it'll be finished up on Friday.
Completely closed.
The intersection itself will be completely closed. Just the intersection.
But it's been closed? It's been closed?
This was a previous approval that
It was an
just
improvement
delayed
that's
due
been-
to the weather, you said?
Right.
Okay,
Okay, so it's just going longer?
yeah.
It's actually, it wasn't
just got
delayed, the
pushed
paving
back.
crew, or the paving schedule got moved up.
Okay.
Oh. Do you have an alternate route?
For how long?
It'll be done on Friday, this coming Friday, tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow.
Monday.
Okay.
There's a missable amount of work going on in there, so
Yeah, with the sidewalk and all that stuff, right? All right, I would recommend to approve the request from Mr. Moore.
And I will concur.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other matters from other department heads or their representatives?
If we could please recall item H, I just have some further clarification. So this has to do with Cal College and the
Yes.
sign. The parking lot request is definitely redevelopment, so I'm going to take President McCormick up to Cynthia and make sure that gets on the agenda. And then the sign is definitely in city property. It's actually in the right-of-way. So if you know on College Avenue, there's that median. That's where it sits. It actually sits in the median.
Okay.
So I'm going to have President McCormick meet with Lakeisha Girder and Brian Poland on that. And I've already notified Mr. Krasinski, so the Port Authority's in the loop.
Great.
All
Thank
right,
you,
so I think
Kevin.
I think the board's motion regarding the sign would stand, and I think regarding the parking lot, I'm going to take her up to redevelopment because it's redevelopment property.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Any other matters from other department heads? Any new business? Any old business? The meeting is open to the public? No? All right.
I'll recommend we adjourn the meeting.
And I will concur.